What's going on, Philadelphia Eagles fans? It's your boy Philly Day One, and Elliot Schultz Parks, had had a like I guess a little meeting with Nick Sirianni, and Nick Sirianni was kind of saying that he's gonna be involved into the offense, and Elliot Schultz thinks that that's a fabulous idea, excellent idea. I got that video for you. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it, and then I'll give my opinion on it to what I think about the whole thing. And and you know, we can sit there and go. We can sit there and talk about it, man. But Houston, Texas. I don't know who this dude is, man, but he don't like the Eagles much. And they recently pinned up the Eagles to the Houston Texans. The D'Amico Ryan, who's Houston, Texas. And they had some stuff to say that I just do not agree with, man. I do not agree with. I feel like you reaching. And we got that video, and we'll sit here, we'll sit here and watch that video together. And I'm gonna give my opinions, and it's gonna be kind of a deep dive. It's gonna kind of be a very deep dive about it. So let's get into it. All right, here's the thing, man. Nick Sirianni and Elliot Schultz Parks talked about the offense. The was what they were trying to say. Like if Sean Mannion has is it his offense or is it Nick Sirianni's offense?
And my main takeaway, we'll get into a lot of it, I'm sure, throughout the show. But to me, the part that really struck me the most is this quote right here. And it's about who has autonomy over essentially the offense, right? Because that's a big story going into the year. Is it Sean Mannion's offense? Is it Nick Sirianni's offense? And Nick was asked that, and here's what he said. He goes, quote, "We're going through everything together as a football team. The autonomy I have, everything on the field has my name on it. We're going through everything. That's offense, defense, special teams together. I hired Mannion to do a job, but we'd be crazy not to say, hey, here's what we're doing. And we did a lot of different things that we went through things in the past, how we called things and everything like that. But we'd be crazy not to do some of the things that we've been successful at, maybe that he hasn't done in the past," end quote. So basically in Nick language, what does that mean? This is still Nick's team. This is still Nick's show. It's the Nick Sirianni show. Everything that happens on that field this season is going to run through Nick, and that's a good thing. When we talk about a lot of change,
to kind of sum it up, and this was the video. Okay. I mean, if you watched OTAs, if you watched like they didn't have it on like camera, but with everything that was said, everything that was written on OTAs, from people who were there, the scouts and stuff like that, it don't look like nothing that Nick Sirianni likes to run. Nick Sirianni is the kind of man who likes to run wide receiver screens. It was a lot of routes for running backs. Thanks to I think it's Josh Grizzard, the guy from the Tampa Bay Bucks. It was a lot of routes for running backs. It wasn't a lot of hitch routes. A lot of motion. All this stuff is not Nick Sirianni by no means. Like it's with some of the people who've come in here, they did add some motion, but if Nick Sirianni had it his way, he wouldn't be motioning anything. So if you're reading what's going on in OTA 7-on-7s practice and stuff, some of the route trees that are going on right there, it ain't a lot of routes that Nick like to run. I do not believe Nick Sirianni gave him really nothing. Nick Sirianni is the kind of person who just kind of talks general. He throws a bunch of philosophical um, fluff in the air. Philosophical fluff is the best way I can put it. He's never somebody who's going to give you exactly what's going on. I do think this is Sean Mannion's offense because of how they're running the offense, who they're putting out there, the calls that are being made, some of the things that he's trying to put in. I think Sean Mannion was somebody who said in an interview that he would look into a lot of the stuff that they did. I said they did. A lot of the stuff that the Philadelphia Eagles did last year, and if it works, he was trying to find a way to integrate that in the offense in which he's putting together now. And that don't bowl with that don't say Nick Sirianni. And I do believe that this is one of those things where we don't want Nick Sirianni hand on the offense. I've got a couple of names. I'm gonna read off some of the offensive coordinators that we had, and we've seen the game, so we know how that year went. Let's go. 2021. 2021, we had Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen. That season was not great. That season was not great. Though he had some bums he was playing with in that season, that 2020 first season. But that wasn't a super great season. That was a pretty horrible season. Then we had 2022, where the year before that, 2021, it was Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen. In 2022, it was just Shane Steichen. That's a Super Bowl year. We went to the Super Bowl, had one of the most prolific offenses in the football league, and we went to the Super Bowl. That's Shane Steichen, just Shane Steichen, and that offense looked like Shane Steichen's offense. And then Shane Steichen moved on, and we had Brian Johnson. I understand from the rumblings in the building, Nick Sirianni didn't want Brian Johnson, but Jalen Hurts wanted Brian Johnson, and because it was only Jalen Hurts who wanted Brian Johnson. They ran Nick Sirianni's offense, so he was very limited in the stuff that he could do. Brian Johnson is not somebody who sits high on the Eagles fans. Like if you see Brian Johnson, you might call him a dickhead. But it wasn't his fault. He was only able to use so many plays because Nick Sirianni didn't want him in the first place. You have right after him, you had Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was somebody who made Dak Prescott who he is now. Dak Prescott is a regular season stud. In the regular season, Dak Prescott balls out. That is not to be debated. He balls out in the regular season. It's those playoffs that he can't really get his jitters together. But Kellen Moore made Dak Prescott a better quarterback. And when we hired Kellen Moore, we thought that was going to be the situation. He was going to come in and make Jalen Hurts a much better quarterback. But he was also stifled in what he was able to do. Thanks to Saquon Barkley coming in, and being a big 2,000-yard rusher, we won the Super Bowl. All you got to do is get Jalen Hurts to the big game, and he'll figure it out himself. I'm going to prove to you guys that Kellen Moore didn't run his offense.
I don't know how to ask this question. Cheating is the wrong word, but did it feel like you were on easy mode when Saquon would just rip like 60-yard touchdowns? Would you call that? Were you like, hey, you know what, let's do the 60-yard touchdown play?
It was a good idea.
It felt like it was every week.
The best was, yeah. I mean, it got to the point where we were rushing it 40 times a game. I mean, it was just a matter of if we can get 40 rushes, we'll probably win. Defense is playing really good football, and Jalen and AJ and Smitty, kind of when we needed to get some passing game stuff going, we did it. And I think my favorite play was the snow touchdown by Saquon.
Yep.
Because that play pretty much was drawn up in the dirt on the sideline by Saquon and the O-line, just give me this run play and we'll make it work. And I think there was an unblocked guy, and Saquon made him.
He drew it they drew up a play. Anytime that our offensive coordinator is garbage or not good, you can see the players draw their own plays up. last season with Kevin Petula. They was drawing up wheel routes and stuff. Devontae Smith, he done made it with the hires we've had of offensive coordinators. We've made it to where our players are playing backyard football. I'm sorry. We've never had put in really good positions outside of Shane Steichen. Outside of Shane Steichen, we've never had put in great positions to win games kind of offensive coordinator. We've never had it. Even with Kellen Moore. If not for Saquon Barkley, we don't even get the chance to go make our own plays in the Super Bowl. In which, if you remember, Jalen Hurts went out to say that he had a couple plays that he took it to Nick Sirianni's offense and said, if you call these plays in the Super Bowl, we'll win. And the dagger was one of them. We've been calling play. The players have been calling plays for a good little minute with the offensive coordinators we've been hiring in. I think it stops here with Sean Mannion. Let's move on. The Houston Texans and the Eagles were put in as a comparison of team who was better. And this is kind of how the situation came up.
The Eagles' offensive ceiling is higher, but I think there's a gap between the Texans' defense and the Eagles' defense.
I don't know about gap. I think we're in the same tier at the bottom.
The reason why I think the Texans are better than the Eagles, there's only one unit on the Eagles' defense that is better. I think it's the linebackers. But the front four for the Texans is better. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter make up, I think, the best pass rushing duo in football. And then their secondary as a whole is better. When we talk about the safeties, that's where the Texans really separate themselves. And then the offense, the Texans made some moves to their offensive line. I think that's the biggest thing. CJ Stroud, to me, I think is going to have a bounce back year. Like, I'm all in on the Texans this year. And I think if they can get just average offensive play from their unit, their defense can make up the difference and they can be a true Super Bowl caliber team.
Okay, I don't agree with the secondary. We got the best secondary in all of football right here. We have two Super Bowl winning we have three. Excuse the heck out of me. We have three Super Bowl winning cornerbacks. Shut down cornerbacks. Not debatable. We can't even go back and forth to argue this shit. We have three of them. They have one. I don't know. Like, even if the safety was as good, the Baller kid, even if the safety was as good as he is now, it still don't add up to what these corners are being able to do out here. Andrew McCouba, I understand that Andrew McCouba is somebody who is not very proven. I understand that. And I'm not going to debate it. But Andrew McCouba is coming into his own. And that's just me talking as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Andrew McCouba is coming out into his own. Cooper DeJean with a new position. He's still that dude. He played multiple positions in college. And he's been a shutdown corner in the slot. Outside, he's been a really good corner, slot and outside. And now we have three of them. I don't even know if these dudes know who on our team with the kind of stuff they said. Now, defensive line, I guess you can argue defensive line. You can't argue the safety. I mean, you can't argue secondary. You can't argue the secondary. The defensive line can be argued. We don't know who the two defensive tackles is on their defensive line, but we got two first rounders. One crazy first round, one all-world talent first rounder, and then we got one big jump first rounder. So you can just argue that. I don't know what these dudes looking at when it comes to that. I think every year somebody's saying that CJ Stroud is going to have his breakout year. Every year. Since he had the first year, every year since then, he's been having a breakout season. Oh, he's due for a breakout season. Man, it won't happen. It won't happen. CJ Stroud is CJ Stroud. So, and I was just talking defense at first, but I got so heated about this, the fact that they were way better. Way better is crazy to me. Now, if you say that last season, they wasn't way better. They was marginally better. They had the sacks. They led in a lot of sacks. They led us in sacks. Probably by like 4 or 5 sacks. 4 or 5 sacks as a team. As a team, they led us in maybe four or five more sacks than we had. I think we had 42 sacks on that season, and they had like 47. So they're not miles better than us. You know what I'm saying? And you could argue the same thing with the coaching thing. If they were that good, they'd have got farther. They got beat by the Patriots. We'd have beat the shit out of the Patriots. That year, we'd have beat the shit out of the Patriots. That is all I got, man. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so y'all stop missing these videos. And we out. Let's go, Birds.